Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to It's Rainmaking time. We've done several shows on life extension and health and wellness and some of the new information we have about iodine and salt. We've talked to people about the advances with telomerase. Today, we're looking at extending life and preparing a scientific roadmap to really end aging. David Kekich, the president and CEO of the Maximum Life Foundation, is here to talk to us about how aging not only can be reversed, but stopped, and the research and the fundraising and all the great activities that they're at work on. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome David Kekich.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you for being here. This is a Manhattan Project of aging, is it not?
Well, it is actually, yes. The Manhattan Project, for some of the younger listeners might not be aware that was the name of the project that ended World War II. It was an all-out effort to develop the atomic bomb and put a quick end to the war. We are going to put a quick end to aging as well, and ours is called the Manhattan Beach Project, and it was founded at our first international conference among scientists in 2000 in Manhattan Beach, California, so we dubbed it the Manhattan Beach Project.
A lot of people are now used to hearing about vitamins and minerals and supplements and whey protein, and there's advances coming out about a Nobel Prize for telomerase and how to extend the telomerase. Yours is an entire whole systems approach to, is it reversing aging or stopping aging?
Basically both, but reversing aging is our ultimate plan, and that is someday being able to transform elderly people biologically into younger versions of themselves.
Some people would think that as human beings, we don't, quote unquote, have the right to do that. You know, there are a lot of people that think, well, if we were meant to be that way and retain this youth, then we would. Are we going against the grain? And what is the philosophy of this or the paradigm behind it?
Well, the philosophy, Kim, basically is no different than the philosophy of medicine since the beginning of time, and that's to improve the human condition. This is not a revolutionary concept. I'm going to get into why it seems like a revolutionary concept a little later, but this is basically evolution. It's a natural progression of medicine. People have always spoken out. There's always been somebody to speak out against progress. I mean, it was against God's will to give anesthetics give anesthetics to pregnant women when they were having childbirth. Some of the people said that God meant women to suffer during childbirth, and of course, we now know that. We typically have anesthesia for almost anything. We have implants, we have chips in our brains, we have artificial knees and hips and laser eye surgery and pacemakers and transplants and implants and you name it. When these first came out, we had people objecting to them, but now they're mainstream. People accept them. It's all part of medicine. It's all part of science, and it's just natural progression. We're heading the same type of progression is leading toward full age reversal sometime in the future. It's our job to make it happen in our lifetimes.
Also, I notice you have Ray Kurzweil on your board of directors, obviously one of the most preeminent thinkers and inventors of all time living today. I would imagine that when you have a board like that, you have a fast track into the future. And then really talk about the law of accelerating returns. You're going to be in it, aren't you?
Well, we are. Ray's actually been a huge influence on me, and his law of accelerating returns is the foundation of why extreme life extension can happen and will happen in many of our lifetimes. Even though we haven't been able to cure cancer and heart disease yet, and we've been after these for decades, we haven't been able to do that. So people say, well, gee, that's really a huge leap to go to where we are now to being able to reverse aging, and we haven't even been able to cure cancer, for example.
By the way, I just want to cut in right here. I don't even agree with that statement, just to let you know that there are people curing cancer every day all over the world, but they are approached by the authorities of their country and shut down and threatened, many of them. So in the formal body of news, we haven't been able to cure cancer. But if truly there wasn't a cabal on the curing of cancer, I believe that the information that there are cancer cures all over the world would be out. So you mean the official story that we can't cure cancer?
Yeah, this is the official story, and the fact is, and the sad fact is, that cancer is our number 3 killer, and it kills millions of people every year around the world, and even in this country. But heart disease is another example, number 1 killer. We haven't been able to solve that yet. People still die from heart diseases and strokes and heart attacks. But let's just say, the argument is, well, we haven't been able to cure these problems. How can we possibly cure aging in our lifetime? And the answer is actually very simple. And it's all based on the law of accelerating returns, which is based on exponential growth.
Talk about that. That's one of the most exciting parts of Ray's work, but I'm sure you can translate it.
Well, it's easy to translate, actually, and if we can put it into something that we all understand, and that's money. And we're all familiar with the magic of compound interest. The longer we have money compounding, the more and more we accumulate over time at a never-fasting, accelerating rate of growth. And here's an example. We have 2 types of growth. We have linear growth, and we have accelerated growth, or exponential growth, geometric growth. And the difference between the two is, if you take $1 and you start out in year 1, and you add $1 to that dollar in year 2, you've now got $2, and that's called linear growth. You're adding a fixed amount every year. In year 3, you have $3, in year 4, and so forth. And by year 10, you have $10. Actually, $11 if you start at year 0 with $1. But with exponential growth, things happen much more quickly. But it's deceptive because it looks very much like linear growth at the beginning. If we take that same dollar, but we multiply it by a factor called the exponent, and let's call this exponent 100%, and let's say we double that dollar, and I'll get into why we're using 100% in a minute.
Right.
Let's take that dollar and we double it, and in the second year, we have $2, just like linear growth. It appears to be exactly the same. In year 3, we double it again, and now we have $4. Well, with linear growth, we had $3. And we can see there's an improvement, but it's very slight. It's deceptive. It's sneaking up on us. But by the end of year 10, instead of having $10 or $11, we now have over $1,000. And by year 30, instead of having $30 or $31, we now have $1 billion. Now, let's translate that into why this has an impact on scientific progress, and particularly in aging. The rate of our growth of the power of the tools that we're using to stop aging or to slow aging is about 100% a year.
What does that mean? That
means that in spite of the power, we've got some incredibly powerful tools right now. The computers are mind-boggling. Most of us don't even understand them. They're incredible. They do fantastic things. They're changing the world. In spite of the fact that we have tools that are almost not understandable by most people, they're going to be 1,000 times more powerful in 10 years. That means these incredible, miraculous tools that are accelerating the progress of medicine and science and technology are going to be 1,000 times more powerful in just 10 years from now. Because the rate of growth is even accelerating, they're going to be a billion times more powerful in 25 years. Now, these tools are the ones, primarily information technology, primarily, to make it real simple, computers or robots.